We're back up. That's funny. Okay, I'm just setting up the new chat. Hi everyone. Ping. Is that better? Test, test. Ping pong, ping pong. Are we good? Julian's staying with the old stream. Wow. Whew. That was a bit crazy. I have to quickly, yeah, now it's going to buffer. Can't win. Wow, okay, I can't win. Yeah, now it says I don't have, now it says my data rate's not fast enough. What? Okay, I need to delete the old stream. Okay, well, that was exciting. I'm not. How to waste 20 minutes of everyone's time. Okay. Pop-up chat from the YouTube, I assume it is. Yeah, it's just a pop-up chat. Need to recode the internet. Me? Maybe Brian can recode the internet. My coding skills aren't good enough. Not even close. Everyone press like. Don't forget to press like again. Yeah. I have to go and delete that old one. Please share the stream on your social media. Oh, that's nice, Peter. 10 seconds? It should only be a few seconds now. It should be much quicker than 10 seconds. It's not like we didn't have a giant... Yeah. Okay. I'm just going to delete this old one before I forget. Because we don't need that, do we? Delete. I hope I'm deleting the right one. Cool, we're done. We're good. It still says it's a bad stream though, bad quality. And my first one was good quality. Are we working? Yay. My hand's there, okay. So, hi everyone. I've been doing a lot of work on the clock. So this is the Rev 3 board, which has, so as I mentioned before, I don't know if everyone heard, my lighting's low today so everyone can see the clock. But my Rev 3, this is my Rev 3 board, and if you look in the top corner, if it focuses, probably won't because autofocus is off. Hang on a second. I'll turn autofocus on. You might be able to see there's, just under my eye, there's a spot for, let me see if I can focus it. There's a spot, well I can't get it on there, for a MOSFET and a couple of resistors for the level shifting. And the level shifting is working great. Love seconds, what did I miss? Don't see any custom emotes. Yeah, what's going on with all the emotes going crazy today? Okay, anyway, so, excuse me, the level shifting is working great. And so as you can see, there's no flickering and it's pretty reliable. So, what I've got at the moment with the clock is a button on the side. I might just put some light on it just for the moment so you can see where my finger is, just for now. So there's a button over here on the side, and then what I can do, put my hands around the camera, is I've got different modes. So as I push the button, it goes through different visual modes. So this one here is doing a vertical change of color. Again, very subtle. Yes, David, thank you very much. So David pointed me onto a BSS 138 MOSFET. I was going to do transistor-based level shifting, but I got a good feeling that the transistors I've got wouldn't have been quick enough. Yay! Yeah, my boards are in Melbourne. My revision 3 are actually arriving today, and I bet you they'll arrive 5 minutes after my stream ends. So, ooh. So that's doing a vertical transition, and then I've got a couple of other ones that I'm playing with that aren't working properly. That's supposed to be cycling individual colors, just randomizing colors, but it's not working. And then I can't remember what that's doing. I think that's just a static vertical color, so it's going from yellow to green. A bit hard to see on the screen here. And then, so this is the default. This is state 1 or state 0, and then this one here is just cycles color going up and down slowly. So there's a few different ones. They're all fairly subtle. Is that not 2 minutes before my stream started? What, Mike? What did I miss? Yeah, the light spread on these segments look great, and if I turn it to the side, I mean, that just looks, it looks wicked. It really does. It's such a bizarre shape, but and obviously, like, you can't read the clock like that, but that's a pretty obtuse angle. The boards arrived 5 minutes after the end of your stream, which is 10 minutes before my stream started. Right, I gotcha. 10 minutes after, I wish it was 10 minutes after my last stream 10 minutes ago. That'd be really cool. But yeah, so the light on here, I mean, you still get a white hotspot on the camera, but there's no white hotspot at all, and it's really even. I can't express how even the lighting is on these segments. Yeah, from the side, it looks really, really good. Like, yeah, it's incredible. Anyway, so the button is designed to change different modes, and then what you can also do is if you double click the button, click, it goes through and shows you your IP address. So 102.168.1.110, and then it just goes back to the clock. So, and then if you do a long push, it resets the Wi-Fi credentials, so you can go back in with using Wi-Fi Manager to reset up your SSID and password. Now, all of the settings on the device right now are actually stored in SPIFs, which is the storage on the ESP8266 or the ESPs. It's kind of like EEPROM storage. It's not EEPROM, but it's like it. It's persistent storage. Now, the reason that the double click is important is because I will show you this. I'm going to show you on my phone, because why not? Laser Wi-Fi clock. So this is a website that's running on that clock. So I can adjust things on that clock in real time on my phone once it's been set up on on your router. So the idea is that you can change visual modes on the clock just by hitting a button, but you can also actually adjust things. So for instance, actually what I might do is, let me switch screens. So I've got my coding screen here. I will actually bring up another window. Let me just get to it. 192.168.1.10. I'll just drag it over here so everyone can see it. So this is the website at the moment. So I've obviously made it to work off mobile because I figure most people will use it on their mobile, although it works on any web. Let's move it over here. So someone has too much time on their hands. Hi, Gold Dig Earth. Is that using an app or web page on your phone? It's actually, so the clock itself is running a web server. So the ESP8266 and ESP32 can be an AP, an access point, it can be a web server, it can be a client, it can do everything all at once. So it's actually sitting there serving this web page. Introducing another delay element. What's another delay element? What have I done? Okay, I'm not sure what I've done. Anyway, so for instance, there's just some stats on here, and so this is one of the things I want to work on today. But as you can see, my web page. I don't understand what the delay element is. Sorry, Mike. Feel free to explain. So for instance, if you look at the clock right now, right now it's set to, I'm at GMT. Oh, actually I should be, well, I'm plus 10 because that's what Australia is, but I've got daylight savings turned on. If I turn off daylight savings, it's all real time. If I go no, the clock will change to 6:27. Oops. Hang on, let's get it back in the middle so you can all see it. When I was holding my phone in front, is that what you meant? Okay, still not 100% sure. So I can switch between daylight savings. I can change the time format. Obviously we're in the morning now, so it won't really do anything if I go and change my time zone. So I can say I'm now in Brazil, which is -3. Now you can see it's Brazilian time, and now if I change 24 hour or 12, you can see, yeah, it's an instantaneous change. Yeah, you can run it from anywhere. It's just a web page. I formatted it to make sure that it works on a phone as well, because I hate websites that don't look nice on a phone. Excuse me. And I had to make it lightweight, obviously, because the web page has to live inside the memory of the ESP8266, which means, I mean, I could be doing jQuery and all sorts of, you know, crazy XHTML with CSS, like, you know, animated stuff. I mean, I could serve whatever web page I wanted to, but obviously the more code, the more memory it takes, the slower it runs. Where's the time coming from? Oh, right. So the clock itself it's a Wi-Fi clock. So it connects to the web server. Sorry, it connects to the an NTP server, and it gets the time. And I'll go through my code in a moment with you, so you can get to see it all, and I'll explain how it all works. But right now, every hour, it goes to the internet and grabs the time again just to correct itself. So it does otherwise it's just running its own timekeeping, because you don't spam the NTP servers. If you do, you get blocked. Actually, it looks like time is right now. Maybe it was a latency before. Oh, this is becoming a cryptic chat. So let me just put it back to so it's Australia daylight savings, so 7:29. Now, the other thing that I've got on here, and I'm just going to, you're not going to be able to see easily, so I'll do it by hand. So right now, if you look at the brightness, there's an LDR at the back. I'm going to go full screen again, just for the moment. So there's no back of the case at the moment. There's an LDR just here on the corner. So if I stick my hand in front of the LDR, you see it goes dull. See, dull and bright. So the idea is that at daytime it's brighter, so it's easier to see, and then at nighttime it drops the intensity. So because it doesn't have to be anywhere near as bright. And let me tell you, even when I drop it down to 15%, and even at 15%, it's bright still at nighttime. Does the router itself an inbuilt clock that's connected to the internet? You could poll that, or do you connect to a particular website? So you connect to it's not a website. It's a like FTP or, you know, HTML or whatever else. It's a transport. It's called NTP, and so there are NTP servers around the world, and they're timekeeping servers. I don't want to rely on having to connect to a router because it's got to work for everyone. So my router might have clock keeping that I can poll, and someone else's router doesn't, or it uses a different way of polling it. So it just needed to be able to work anywhere. And there are different NTP servers around the world. You get different latency from them. So, like, for instance, you could connect to an NTP server. I could connect to the one in America, and the time I get back could be 3 seconds late because of the latency, right? But there's also an NTP server in Australia, and there's some in Asia. And so right now I don't give you the choice. It just goes and tries to find the closest NTP server. I don't know how reliable that is. So I just needed something that's just going to work for everyone. So if I just, anyway, so you saw the LDR there where I can adjust it. What I can also do though, which I did this last night, was there's a max brightness. So I can turn my max brightness down, and you've got to actually let go of it. So if I turn it all the way down and let go, you see that it went dull. So this is like a multiplier. So this will make the dullest duller and the brightest duller. And if I just take it back up again, you see it goes brighter. So not everyone's going to want the same brightness settings. So I'm trying to do as many settings as I can inside the web app. Yeah, let someone else worry about the making it right. Thanks, Colin. Yeah, I've done a bit of work. So it's using an external CSS, which is just on my web server. I did originally have the all the style sheets inside on the in the code, which I'll show you in a moment, because that way it doesn't have to go to an external server. It just makes it a little bit faster, but it also adds a stack of memory, right? Because the massive strings that are sitting in memory all the time, and it meant that every time I wanted to make a tweak, I had to recompile the whole clock and re-upload it again. So it's using external style sheet for the moment. Right, the bigger the web page is serving, the more memory it takes. Excuse me, and the ESP8266's got a stack of RAM, so you know, I mean the whole thing right now is using 35%. All my code, including the website's using 35% of the storage. So how does that work if you don't have a Wi-Fi connection initially? Well, it won't work. You need to, the very first thing you do when you power it up is it comes up with like a boot message, and you need to, well, I can show you the process. It's not a separate web page. So when you power it up, if it's got no SSID credentials, it turns itself into an access point. And then on your phone, you can actually see it as a Wi-Fi connection, like you connect to your own Wi-Fi. So you connect to a Wi-Fi, you connect to it, and it pops up a window, and you put your credentials in. That way it can be moved around. Is MDNS enabled, and how do you get the IP addresses? Yes, it's running MDNS. As you can see, here it is, ESP8266 MDNS. You might want to change daylight savings to daylight savings is something you put in the bank. Okay. Remind me to do that when we get to that part of the code. So yeah, I'm just using Wi-Fi Manager. I'm using a slightly modified version, and I'm going to continue modifying it just for myself, just because I want to brand it differently, and there's some things in there that I don't need, and I want to just make it as simple as possible. But yeah, it's going to be based off Zappoo's, I think, Wi-Fi Manager. Tabletronics, yeah, I know I could stick it in program memory, but the problem right now is I'm still designing it. Once it's all finished, yeah, I could just compress it and put it in program memory. But right now I'm still tweaking and changing, and I'm adding more stuff. And so one of the things I want to do today on the stream is add a color picker. As I mentioned, the very first state. Let me just get to the first state. Okay, so that's the very first state. I just made it blue numbers and red flashing dots. And so what I actually want to do is I don't want to stick every single color in there and make people click 100 times. What I'm going to do is this state's just going to be a static color with a static flashing thing, and you'll be able to choose what those two colors are from the website. So I need to put a color picker in there so you can do that. Daylight saving, different countries have different dates systems for working out the change date. UK and Ireland each have it, but on different dates. No, I'm not. So I thought about that. Don't think I'm going to do date entries. I'm just going to, like right now, you can just go to the website and say I'm in daylight savings mode now. You just turn it on and off. I thought about putting a start date and an end date, but then I need to run a date system. Then it's constantly got to be polling the date and everything. I don't, yeah. And then I could possibly look at doing that down the line, but right now it's just easier to have is it in daylight saving mode, yes or no? I know you have to actually go and interact with it, you need to go and change it, but you know, most clocks in our house we have to go change. You know, admittedly, our phones and stuff we don't. So yeah, look, poll, maybe. I might do that. Start date and an end date for daylight savings. Yep, I could do that. Could always add DST polling in the future. The data is not in an easy place, not that I've seen. It's, yeah, it's actually very hard to get everything you want in one place. It should be automatic. Oh, well, it won't be automatic for the NTP server because you can't pass the NTP server where you are. It's always just giving you Greenwich Mean Time. So, yeah, no, there's no. I mean, there might be some services, like a different service out there that you can get an API key for that can give you all the information you need. I don't know, like a weather type system. Not a weather system, but you know how you can get like. You know, API keys for weather systems so you can grab the weather for your location. There might be something already there. No, David, it's not already accounted for because it doesn't know where you are. And you can't use your IP address for that because, you know, people use VPNs or, you know, like my router at home, like some places in the world think that I am in San Francisco because of my IP address, just because their lookup tables are incorrect. Even though I'm in Melbourne, even though my static IP address is part of an IP address that belongs to an Australian company, a lot of the times people think that I'm in San Francisco. So I can't rely on their IP address to get their location. I can't rely on them setting their location properly. I could have a massive drop-down list that says, hey, where do you live, right? And it'll take up more memory than what the clock's got, what the ESP8266 has got. So I'm trying to keep it just as simple as possible. I do like the idea of putting a start and an end date, and then all you do is you set your time zone, start and end date for when daylight savings are on, and then you're done. All those conspiracy theorists about Australia never happened. It never happened. It doesn't exist. So, excuse me again. Wow. I'm just gonna move. Let me move that away again so it gets a bit nicer. So before we start looking at the code, I'm happy to answer any more questions about the clock, because there seems to be lots. I'd also, one of the things I'd like to put on there is the ability to allow the user to show the date, maybe, or maybe have a mode where it cycles between the date and the time. I don't know how I do that. There's only one button on there. So, just because, you know, apparently I'm a wasteful guy, I am making a revision 4 board. I'm not sure if all of you saw. I can't even remember. Where did I mention it? I think I mentioned it on my Patreon page. This is the revision 3 board, which is working great, as you can see. But I'm making one, well, I'm potentially making 2. But one change to the board, I'm actually making it slightly wider. Dave Darko, if you're here, did you notice that there's input at the start and back? Hang on, maybe just, let me... it's too dark. Can't see. Okay, doesn't matter. So I've added for you the in and the out. Haven't tested it. I'm assuming it's going to work. Oops, where's the camera? But what I'm also going to do, I've made the board slightly wider. No, that came on Rev 3. The Rev 2 change was, didn't include that, because I didn't want to do a new stencil at the time. So I'm going to make the board slightly wider and even up the drill holes, because as you can see on the clock right now, if I go full screen back on the clock, with a bit of light, you can, as people mentioned, the screw holes are not even on each side. So when I've been producing these boards, I've only been doing the minimum run, because obviously they're expensive boards, they're rather large. So I've only been doing the minimum run from JLC to ensure that I don't waste many. And these are all usable. Like, I can give these to people, that's fine. As in, you know, I think Alan K wants one. He's quite happy to have odd screws. But I am doing a version where their screws are even, just to satisfy everyone's OCD. And the other thing I might add to it is a buzzer, a piezo, which means I'm going to have to lose one of the, because they're already, yeah, I'm out of I/O. If I use a buzzer, if I use one of these for a buzzer, then potentially I could stick a piezo on the back, and then people could also use it as an alarm clock. So I might do that as well. I don't know. I don't want this to be the project that never finishes. The old Screw Society. Yeah. Let me just go back. There was a... at the moment you can't choose which NTP server just because I don't want to sit there and try to work them all out. I'm using the US one, just the global one, and it's fast. I think my latency is like 2 seconds, and I'm happy with a 2-second latency on it. I might look at adding that later on. Firmware updating, there won't be any firmware updating. Well, when I sell the clock as a complete clock, there won't be firmware updating. Like, it'll be it. There shouldn't be a need. I want it complete. There won't be a need to do any firmware updating. But of course, any of these that I sell on Tindy, you'll be quite able to open it up and flash it yourself if you want to. I'm not planning on supplying any firmware updates. I'm not enabling any OTA on it. I don't want people to be able to hack them or do anything with them. The whole idea is it's a fully self-sufficient clock. Excuse me. How about showing the number of subscribers? Yeah, well, enough digits for me still. It's not a subscriber counter, and it will never be one. Excuse me. Australia used to connect the internet at NASA Ames Research Centre. Okay, that could be why sometimes I think I'm in San Francisco. I don't know. Australia does exist because I've been there. Yeah, been there on a bad trip. A GPS clock. You could definitely use GPS to do the clock as well. So the digits aren't going to move. The digits are already centered. It'll just have it'll be even spacing on the left and the right. So right now the left is a bit wider intentionally because that's where all the USB and the button and everything was. I'd have to cover it up. But now the right hand side will be the same width on the side as well. And the digits will, yes, technically they'll be centered. Yes. Peter's going to buy either. Okay, you can buy both. Sorry. Welcome. NIST server is just up the road from me. Colorado time is good time. I don't know what a NIST server is. GeoCities. Wow. Did everyone here have a GeoCities page? And MySpace page? Okay. Oh, my coffee's still almost warm. Almost. So, now, some other things I've got on here, just of interest. Obviously showing the IP address on the web page is a bit pointless because if you don't know the IP address, you can't get to this page. But anyway, and it shows the current Wi-Fi strength, what the uptime is. So if I just refresh this, you'll see that its uptime's gone up. How many times it's done an NTP update, and it also shows fails. And overnight I had a few fails, and if it fails on an NTP pull at the hour mark, it'll try again every minute until it gets it. And sometimes, and a fail doesn't mean that it didn't work. A fail just means that the packet didn't come back in time. That's all. I've set it's non-blocking because the last thing I want to do is have it while it's waiting for the data to come back that the clock stops working. Didn't show someone to get the portal page to open automatically, the Wi-Fi manager. The portal page does open automatically. The AP page does. I don't want this on the AP page. I don't want people trying to configure their clock when they haven't got an internet connection yet. So, name.local. I can try just going to name.local. I don't know if it'll work. Is it laser? Is it case sensitive? Is it Wi-Fi clock.local? No. National Institute of Standards and Technologies. Okay. We have no standards and very little technology in Australia. So we don't have an Australian Institute of Standards in Technology. We have a Australian Institute of Dumbass Politicians. That's what we have. Anyway, that's a whole different discussion for a different stream. Whatever you have initialized in setup, it's called laser Wi-Fi clock. That's what it comes up as an AP point, but I don't know whether that's case sensitive or not. You've got good atomic clocks and good beer? Okay. Institute of Poisonous Beasts. Yeah, I've got one of those in my backyard. No, I don't really. NTP pool. Yeah, so there's an NTP pool that just randomly picks a different one. It doesn't pick your closest one though, because it doesn't know, but it'll pick a different one. And the reason they do the pool is to, again, not bombard the same NTP server, because you'll eventually get blocked if you keep bombarding it. That's why I'm doing it every hour. Hey Josh. Right now I'm happy for it to be an IP address. I don't really see people using it often. Like, it's technically something you only use the one time. And I could actually build it into my version of the Wi-Fi manager. So once it connects to the AP thing, it then shows you the web address on that particular device. I could probably code that up. Like, I'm not shipping this tomorrow. I'm still working on it, obviously, as you can see. But there are quite a few things we can do. You can set the DNS name after the AP setup. Yeah, I can. There's lots of options there, guys. Whether I just bring up the settings page, whether I have the settings page on the AP page, or whether I, let people choose what the name is for themselves so they can get to it whenever they want to. I'm sure I'll work it out. Ministry of Silly Walks. Okay. Color picker will be cool, and animation presets. Yeah, I'm not going to be doing animation presets, I don't think. Well, right now, the presets are in there. You change them just by clicking a button. Like, I'm not going to allow people to make their own or to be messing around with different colors. Like, I don't want the settings screen to be just forever scrolling list of things that people are never going to use more than once or twice. To be honest with you, my favourite one is just this one. It's the sideways scrolling. It just looks really pretty in real life. I wish you could see how nice it looks without the white glow. So the button cycles between all the different visual options. Yeah. And the colour pick is just going to be for the first option. So you can choose, this is the colour I want my clock to be. And you can always go back at any time and change what that colour is. But so this is the colour of the letters, and this is the colour of the flashing thingies, whatever they're called, like the colon. Hello, Looney. Sell them and we will all see Sion. What? Sunrise, sunset palettes. Sure. Yeah, I'm not finished adding. Like, I'm experimenting right now with all the different things, and I'm doing it as a library still, like I do with my Laser 7 segments and my Neo 7 segments. So all of the different functionality for displaying the clock and everything is actually in the library, not in the laser Wi-Fi clock. So technically people can use the library for their own clocks if they want to. You'll have to hack it, obviously, because this is designed specifically for this. Like, one pixel per segment, stuff like that. So your clock and we'll see them all. Oh, right, okay, I understand. I could make it say Sion, sure. Excuse me. Yeah, I definitely plan on selling them, Mike. So I'm be spending a lot of time on it to get it right. The thing for me at the start was to make sure that the segments looked right, because the ones I had initially, they looked great, but the viewing angle was worse than this, and you had to really study the clock to understand what the numbers were. This one is just, like, I can't begin to tell you how amazing it looks in real life. Like, like every time I see it, I just go, oh, wow. And the pinks and purples just look incredible on it. Anyway, now I can do the lowercase n, the 7-segment version of n. So who wants to see some code? Let's look at some code. See on. Well, it'll be a capital N. It'll still be a tall N. It'll just be a lowercase tall n. Yeah. 2 IDs from Get Color. What was that? One thing that bugs me about the color cycling, the flashing color. Right, so because they're doing them in order right now, but yeah, I could do a Get Color to work out what the colors are here and insert it in the middle. Right now, I'm not trying to. Right now, everything I'm trying to do on the clock is supposed to be reproducible on any on any pixel strip that if someone wanted to do it themselves. Does that make sense? I'm trying to keep the library side, which is called Wi-Fi Clock, something. What I can't remember what I called it. I'm trying to keep that as generic as possible right now, and the only way to keep that generic is to not be hacking in where those colons are. CO code view count drops instantly. Thanks Looney, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, okay. So bye everyone, I'm about to start coding, so catch you later. Thanks for joining. I'm just going to do some coding now. Just feel free to disperse. No, come on, coding doesn't have to be that boring. There's nothing boring on C on stream because it can explode or implode. Oh, there you go. I got Laser 7 Wi-Fi Clock is my library at the moment. That's just what it's called. Coding is not fun. Coding on stream is terrible. So, it's pretty straightforward. I'm just going to do a very quick run through. Peons disperse for I equals 1 to 10. This is like bedtime. Thanks, Des. I'm going to put you to sleep. Okay, I'm just going to do a quick scan through. Oh, no, wait. I haven't finished yet. There's one other thing that you can see on this here that I've got on here, and it's an interesting one. So, it's called IP reset. I had a problem for the last 3 or 4 days with the clock where the IP, or so the Wi-Fi was being disconnected a lot. Like sometimes it was like once an hour, sometimes it was once every 15 seconds. And it didn't matter what the Wi-Fi strength was. And, you know, first I thought it was the clock and it was where the ESP was sitting on the clock. But then I stuck it on the D1 Mini and I had the D1 Mini sitting right next to my router. And my Wi-Fi strength was like 90%. And it was still losing the IP address. Because the problem is you lose the IP address or you lose the connection. You try to surf to the clock to change settings and you can't get to it. And then you double click the button. Did everyone see that before? Was everyone still here when I did that? There might be some new people here. So with the clock, if you double click the button, oops, it shows you the IP address. Just so you know what to connect to. Anyway, so the problem is you double click the thing and it comes up with 0000 and then you're screwed. And what do you do? Because the clock still works, it looks like it's working, and you don't know that it's failed. And so I put this system in to detect for, and the code's still in there, I'm going to remove it, the system to detect that there was no IP address. Oh, Julian's sleeping. Uh-oh. I'll put Julian to sleep. My evil plan has worked. I'm just going to move this light. So, I've got a system that tracks how many times there's a reset. And a reset could happen for multiple reasons, for whenever the Wi-Fi goes down. I don't want to do a static IP address because then if it, for whatever reason, that fails or you put the address in wrong, you can never get back to it again. I don't think it's static IP. If you want a static IP address, you can set it up on your router to give it a static lease. But it took me 3 days to work out what the problem was, and the actual problem was having the ESP826 secure client include file in the actual project. For some reason, having the secure client was killing the connection. And as soon as I got rid of the secure client, because I didn't need it, it's never reset, and it's been working great. Someone sends Julian some strong coffee. Yeah, I mean, most people don't even know what a static IP address is. Like, you know, I expect that, you know, like my mother-in-law thinks this clock looks awesome. Like, if I put one into her house, she's not going to understand how to do any of that type of stuff. She won't even understand that she can surf to it and change settings on it. I'll take one, thanks, Mike. Milk, no sugar. Skinny milk, please. Thanks. Anyway, so that's what that was, and I'm going to take that out because it's not really needed now. And you'll see the code in there in a moment about that. Yes, just us IT types. There's very few of us out there actually. So yeah. Okay, so there's just a whole bunch of variables, right? And these are all to do with NTP stuff and time tracking. I was caching the IP address. I'm not really using that anymore. I do actually have daylight start and end. And this is something different. This is not for daylight saving. This was, I was going to put a system in there that it used, instead of, this is before the LDR, so you could turn around and say from 6 o'clock in the morning, make the clock bright, and at 10 o'clock at night, make it dull or something, right? Or you could turn it off, or you could do something else. Hey, Rob. Rob, not only are you late, but you missed the first stream. Terrible. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of variables. Let's not worry about the variables for the moment, because they're whatever. You'll see them as we go through. So I set up the display, and the display basically is there's 4 digits. It's on pin 15, and I have 2 additional pixels for the flashing colon. I'm using, excuse me, wow. I'm using the one button library again, because it's my favorite library for buttons, which is on pin 2, and I've got a server that I've set up. I'm attaching my different methods for the button clicks, right, for a single click, a double, and a long. Starting up the display, I'm getting the initial read off the LDR. I should actually show you at boot. So what happens is, I'll switch screens, I'll unplug it and plug it back in again so you can see how it boots up. There's no off switch because it's not really designed to ever turn off. So I plug it in, not sure if you saw that, it goes green, blue, so green means loading settings, blue is connecting to the Wi-Fi, green, blue, and then off it goes. So it shows 4 different visual states of what it's doing as it boots up. Not necessarily something that the user's going to understand, but for me, just so I can see what state it's in as it boots. Hope that makes sense. So you'll see a whole bunch of these display text color with different dashes. That's all they mean. If you put this in your setup, the MDNet should work. Okay, I can look at doing that. I might... Mike, does that need to go before or after the Wi-Fi is connected? It'll have to be after, right? Let me just scroll ahead. Scroll ahead. I'll make it all lowercase. Okay, I'll try that in a second when we it's time for my stream. I'll get back to that. Okay, so it goes through, it does the load settings, which is just using spiffs. Set in the host name, and then I've got a method called boot Wi-Fi. I'm using this callback right now, which just it knows when it goes into AP mode, and it draws this funky thing in red. If there's something important you need me to see, just ping my name, because I'm just scrolling through here right now. So boot Wi-Fi is pretty simple. It just sets a whole bunch of Wi-Fi settings, and it's just using Wi-Fi Manager to connect. So it tries to do an auto connect, and if there's no credentials, it shows you the AP screen on your phone. You can get to connect to it via the Wi-Fi connection. Otherwise, if it fails to actually bring that up, it just shows ERR in red. I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point right now. Normally a restart will just fix that. Otherwise, it goes through and it tries to get the time from the time server, and it always tracks whether it got the time. And I use that later on. So it'll just stay in a loop, and it'll just keep flashing between 2 different visuals until it gets the time. Then it starts the web server, just prints a whole bunch of logs. I'm caching the IP address, and then off it goes, and is ready is true. And this boot Wi-Fi quiet, that's my IP missing tracking thing. And all that basically does is it does the same as booting the Wi-Fi, but does it silently. So at any point, if the Wi-Fi disconnects, it detects that it's disconnected and it restarts the whole Wi-Fi subsystem behind the scenes without the user ever knowing. And you can't see any visual glitch on the display at all. And that will, or if it gets to a state where it can't connect or the credentials are gone or something, it puts them back into the AP mode, and it, it'll show an error or show that boot display thing, and people know that they have to go put their credentials in again. Otherwise, it just goes through and it regrabs the time again. So it's just a backup fail-safe thing. The settings is pretty simple. It's just using a settings.txt file in spiffs. It's a really ugly format right now I'm not using JSON, I'm just storing a whole bunch of floats or a bunch of strings. I know it's ugly. I'm just doing that right now because I don't even know what I'm going to put in there yet. I don't know the extent of all my settings. See you later, Amos. Thanks for joining. Have a good day at work. Work or study. Either way. So as you can see here, yuck format, maybe JSON would be nicer. Might look at that later. I wouldn't mind turning this into some JSON. Is the text big enough for everyone to see? Might make it a bit bigger. And so that's if it can't find the file, it creates it. Otherwise it goes through and... So this is on a load. So obviously the very first time it tries to load, it won't be there, so it creates it. Otherwise it goes through, and I'm just doing some pretty hacky stuff to count the order. Like, I can avoid all of this here if I just use JSON. So, does everyone know what JSON is? It's like a XML. It's a way of storing key value data in a text platform. Switching platforms. Okay. So this is pretty ugly, but it works. And then I just print out what the settings are. There's the boots. The same with save settings. It tries to open it. If it can't, it just shows you an error. Otherwise, it goes and saves all the data down. Thanks, Peter. JSON it's a much nicer, much cleaner format than XML. XML has a lot of overhead and junk. Switch case instead of if else. No, because this is all temporary. Yes, you can do. I mean, there's no difference between a switch and an if else, really. At the end of the day, different text formatting, different presentation, they both do the same thing. But my plan is to, as I said, to replace all this with JSON, and there won't be any of this if else. Sure, it's nicer to see, but my plan is that, I mean, no one's seeing this code. Hey, Agim. I mean, unless you can steer into the clock and see it in the clock. Anyway, so they're saving, and then so we've got the web server is pretty standard. So I'm doing some hacky things with the web server, but I'm running the server, and I've got a couple of different cases. So things like the switching here between daylight saving, yes or no, is basically just firing off DS1 or DS0, and then I've got methods that handle those. The same with 24 hour and 12 hour, they're just two different options. YAML, no. Hello, Roger. YAML, not for the win. YAML's okay. I prefer JSON. I like JSON. So they're just easy to do two different methods for. And then what I do is in the... So it gets kind of funky. Hang on. I'll get to that in a sec. Okay, so yeah. So in the handle F12 and 24, it's basically just saying, is 24 hours false or is 24 hours true? It prints a log, and then it saves the settings, and what it does is it tells it to go back and reload, or redirect. It's just like a HTTP redirection, and it redirects back to / to the root, because when I change one of these things in here, it appends something to the query string at the end of the address, and so it's technically on a different page. So I then force it back to the root again, and as you can see, that happens really quickly. So I got 12-hour flash. Now I'm not sure if you saw a flash of the logo there. I've got a blocking image that comes up. So if for whatever reason it takes longer to reload the page, then it doesn't let the user try to change anything until that happens. You lost the internet. Did you find it again? Where was it? We lost the internet last night and I looked all over the house and I couldn't find it anywhere, Daniel. Sorry. No, you didn't. I'm just going through code. ESP86.local should work. Yeah, probably would work actually. Anyway, so that's what they're doing. And then handle root, which is the default, just calls get page. And get page is a whole bunch of ugly code. It's just one big string that's got all of my HTML in there. It's pretty straightforward stuff. I'm not doing a lesson on HTML right now. It hides under the bed. But this is, let me just pull this over a bit further. But this is all the HTML in here. I've tried to keep it as lean as possible. I could keep it leaner by changing some of these class names to be shorter, just less text in memory. But it's pretty basic stuff. And it's all working in line, right? So like for instance, this is the list of all the GMT time zones. How about XML HTTP request? What about it? What about using a for loop? A for loop for what? For all of this? I can't use a for loop because if you look at the numbers, they're all different. 5.75, 3.5, 4.5. Yeah, I was going to break it all into different files, but for the moment, you know, it's easy for me to keep everything in one place. Yep, it's all hard-coded, but that's all it needs. Like, what's the problem with having it hard-coded? Like, you know, like at the end of the day, what am I optimizing it for? For myself? Like, it doesn't matter. Like, this is fixed now. This doesn't change. I mean, a nice thing, sure, to stick it into an include file, all the HTML, so I can keep it separate, and I'll probably look at doing that later. I thought you said GNT times. Gin and tonic times. Sure, short code's nice, but functional code's more important. Right now, you know, I'm still working out what the clock's going to do. You know, I'm still working out what things I'm going to stick in here. So beautifying and optimizing my code now is way premature. Plus, you really only need to use this page once you set the time. What about MQTT? What do I need MQTT for? This is just a clock. It's just a Wi-Fi clock. It's okay. Nah, ask questions. Go for it. All good. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is basically, it's just saying that if this method is basically saying if my current setting is that value, just insert selected inside the options list, because HTML is pretty ugly the way it works, right? So this has to be dynamically updated each time. Having these show, you know, is it 24-hour? Yes. Show these options, otherwise show those. I could change that into a same type of thing with a method. What IDE? This is just the Arduino IDE, but using the dark skin. Make an alarm when the time switches. What, every second? Beep, beep. Alright, daylight saving chimes. Sure. Lots of things I can do. No, not every second. Okay, so this is where the interesting thing happens. So in handle not found. Now, I don't want to set up a case for every single one of these, right? Like I've got up top here, where I handle if it's this call this method. If it's this, call this method. So what I'm doing is I'm using the page does not exist, which is this here, handle not found. I'm using this as a catch-all. And what I'm basically saying is if there's a G, so if the URL is /G, then it's a GMT time, not GMT, GMMT time. And what I do is I then grab the value after and I convert it to a float, and that's the GMT time, right? And that's how I save that, and again I redirect back to /. And I'm doing the same thing right now with the brightness, right? Because the brightness is a slider, it could be anything. I can do has-args, but then I've got to use a different format in my query string. So I could do that. Program an analog mode. I can program an analog mode. An analog clock mode? I'm confused, Julian. How would I show it? Is that what you mean? Analog clock? How would I show that on this? I'm not sure. And I'm doing the same with the brightness, because the brightness could be any value between 15 and 100 or whatever it is. 30 and 100 I've got. So I'm doing the same thing again where I'm checking its B and then I'm stripping it. I could use has-args. I just happy to do it this way because doing it as a catch-all gives me an option to add whatever I want arbitrarily. Well, I don't have to actually use a query string format. Yeah, lots of different ways to skin a cat. There's a nice thing about coding. Coding is try 1,000 different ways to do something and they all work. Just pick which one you feel most comfortable doing. And then I've just got a generic file not found right now. I need to clean all this up and make it say something humorous, I think. Like these aren't the droids you're looking for. So that's pretty easy. Then we're into the loop. I do a button tick every loop. That's how the button system works. I'm reading the LDR, constraining it, and I'm multiplying it by the brightness value that I've set inside here. As you can see, I scroll it down, brightness goes down, up, brightness goes back up. And then if it's not ready, it doesn't do anything else. And then if it is ready, which means it's got the time and Wi-Fi is connected, and off it goes. Not that other approaches don't work, I don't use them, it just makes things cleaner. Yeah. Hey David, hey the H, welcome, both of you. Cleaner yes, cleaner no, I don't know, I think that's a personal preference. I mean, I look at that code and I understand that code. You're missing an H in the comment. I'm sure I'm missing I'm sure I've got spelling mistakes everywhere in my comments. I don't know which comment you mean, but anyway, that's fine. So it handles it. This is how the web server works, just called handle client. I'm using millis divided by 1000 to work out what the seconds are in 612. Wi-Fi is not connected with, there we go. Thank you. And then, so what I'm doing here, it's pretty straightforward. As I said, I'm tracking the time myself, just with millis, in between going to the server to actually get the right time for corrections. And so I'm just saying that if last second doesn't equal second, then the seconds change. I'm tracking a bool for a second switch. I've got just some logs in here that I'm not using right now, just prints out the LDR settings. This is where it's checking the IP address, and it does a boot quiet, boot Wi-Fi quiet if there's no IP address. I'm just doing that every second. Again, I can change that later. So that's how I'm tracking seconds. I'm doing the same thing with minutes. If seconds are greater than 60, I'm just incrementing the minutes. And I did a minute switch, and I use that for the re-getting the time. If it didn't get to the NTP server and it needs to retry, it uses that did minute switch just here. And so I only do that once a minute. And And every 60 minutes it goes to get the time from the server. Yes, debugging my comments across 10,000 miles. And then it goes through and says, okay, if I'm in showing IP address mode, this is where it just cycles through the different IP values. It's pretty straightforward. It just shows one at a time and changes it every 2 seconds. So I'm not using delay anywhere in the loop. It's all non-blocking. It's kind of important when you've got a clock not to use hour plus plus is redundant. No, hour plus plus is not redundant. Well, it's redundant if the time comes back correctly, but if the time hasn't come back correctly, I still need the time to tick over. I need the hour to tick over. So, it might take 2 seconds to come back. It might not come back at all. It might take, if it fails 3 times over 3 minutes, it might take 4 minutes to get the correct time from the server. I need the hour to tick over. So it's absolutely not redundant. Unit tests, no thanks. But it might get to 25. Yeah, I'm not checking the... that's a good point. I should probably check hour is less than 25. There you go, Greg. Just for you. It's a very valid point. And then, so if it's not showing the IP address, it just goes through here, and based on the different state, it's calling a different display time. So I've got a generic display time where I pass it a color. I've got the second one is where it's just fading colors. I'm just going through the wheel, color wheel, and every 33 milliseconds. And I'm using this format to make sure I don't do the millis run over comparison thing. Yes, yes, not 25, 24, 20. I'll get to the to-do. Okay, you know what? If hour is greater than 23. Wow, what happened to my tab? I'll fix the tabs later. Hour equals 0. There we go. We're good? Thumbs up? I was going to ask how you were handling this 2-minute overflow. Yeah, I'm not worrying about the overflow. Overflow. I'm just doing I'm using this format, so I don't have to worry about the overflow. And this just takes care of itself. So, excuse me. As they have extra hour if you ask them at 8 AM. Oh, hey Alan, how you doing? I'm just surprised that there are such things as Arduino IDE, as if it's behind modern development in some ways. There are unit test libraries for the Arduino. So 8 AM, I've never heard of that. 8 AM is a terrible time. We should skip 8 AM to go from 7 to 9. Anyway, as I said, I've got different display times. So here's display time cycle H, display time cycle V, so it's horizontal, vertical. So I'm trying to put any of the fancy code for displaying the visuals in the library and not fill this with stuff. And so that way I can just add more different visuals to the library later, and it's easier to implement. And that's all that is. And then, okay, now here's the tricky thing, right? This was a bit of a nightmare. GMT, really? GMT is cool, except for, what the heck is this? Negative 3.5. 5.75. Really, why can't everyone be on an exact hour? I mean, even Adelaide in Australia, half an hour, 9.5. Right? Thanks, Alan. It does look cool, doesn't it? So, I had to put in some hacky code. Wow. This was a pain. I had to do a custom hour and minutes. So you can see here it's doing get hour and get minutes. I can't just pass it the hour and minutes. Right? So I need to do I need to grab the value for GMT and pull it apart, and you pull the decimal part off it first. So that way I can take the decimal off the start to fix the rounding issue, because if it's a negative number, it rounds it up. Back, yeah, anyway, it rounds it. And then I got to work out what the hour is based on the integer part. So the new hour is the hour from the NTP server plus the GMT integer part plus 1 if it's daylight savings. And the minute is the decimal part times 60, because if it's 0.75, it needs to be 45 minutes, right? And then I need to fix the hour if minutes has gone over, or if the hour's gone backwards and it's below 0, adjust the hour, or if the hour's gone too far forwards, right, then bring the hour backwards. And then if it's 24 hour, if it's not 24 hour, remove the 12, right? We changed it because of the railways. Oh, Leah's gone to sleep. Bye. Did I put you to sleep? I hope not. I don't like wacky time zones, Julian. This time zone thing's a pain. And then with the minutes, I have to do a similar thing where I've got to grab the decimal part. I have to multiply, so the minute plus whatever the decimal times 60 is, and then do the same adjustments on the minutes. And this was a nightmare. I had everything working nicely. At the moment, Looney, it gets changed manually in here, but it's already been suggested, and it's a good idea. Matt, I'm going to smack you across the head. I'm going to add a date for the start, or maybe a date for the start and end times for daylight savings, so you can set when the start and end is. Maybe. The problem is that means I have to also track the date inside here, which is fine if I'm going to put the date on the clock, but I don't know yet how I'm going to do that. Plus 12.45, New Zealand, really? No, I can just ignore New Zealand, can't I? Yeah, accounting for leap seconds. Matt, seriously? Living life dangerously. MP, does it really? Manual that, me setting and ignore the time. What? Manual that, me setting and ignore the time zones. Manual. Okay, that's not even in English. Probably a bit late, but the Arduino time library has methods for all of that stuff. It does, Mike, and in hindsight I could have used that, but when I started this, I didn't even know I needed to do any of this stuff. It didn't even occur to me, and so my code was really simple. It was just tick the seconds, and if it gets to 60, tick the minutes, right? It wasn't till I actually looked through the GMT stuff closely that you know what? I knew Adelaide was always half an hour behind, and it's never really occurred to me how that works. But I did not expect to see 5.75, 5.5, 3.5, negative 3.5, and they threw me. And all of a sudden, I could have just rewritten everything using the time library, but I'd already had my other code there, so it kept extrapolating it. So I'm not saying I'm shipping this code. I might not. I might redo it all. I don't know. It's been a fun process. Then basically I'm just going through my button clicks. I've got to clear just to clear all the displays. Single click, double click, the long press, which resets the Wi-Fi manager, and then this is all just the NTP stuff, where it gets all the time from the server. And I've got my Wi-Fi quality code. Yes, I still haven't fixed the 6. Let's fix the 6, shall we? Just for Julian. I'm going to do it right now. I'm going to go right now. Just let me go to my libraries. Laser Wi-Fi clock. Source. Okay, here we go. Here's my library. I'm changing it right now. I get a phone call. Paul, what did you miss? Nothing, Paul. Didn't miss anything. Just a whole bunch of code. Okay, where's my 6? There we go. I'm gonna have to recompile though. So that'd be interesting. I'm gonna re-upload and let's see whether that code changes works. No, we haven't. Oh, whoops. It thinks I'm compiling to the Pico. That's not a good idea. Let's put it back to ESP8266. It's using V2 higher bandwidth. I don't even know what that does, but it sounds cool. Okay, compile, build. Here we go. And the 9. I think is the 9 right? No. What have I done with the 9? 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, yeah. So the MD and S does not compile. I didn't think it would, because I don't have a reference to it. I will worry about that another time. I need to create a new reference to it. Okay, coming back to watch the upload from clock reading 8 o'clock. Good night all. I'm working on coding a clock too, so I want to rip off your source. Okay. Special Julian mode lets you select the number shape. Wait, did I save this? Oh, I didn't save the 9 before I compiled. Oh well, whoops. You could ship it with only one available time zone. I expect to make a time. And let people figure out what it is. Some random thing that's off by 3.5 minutes. Yeah, I could stick a decimal point and a fraction at the end for the time and really confuse people. Wow, this is taking a long time to compile. Why do we have to wait for 8 minutes? No capacitors being fluxed today. Wow, this conversation's all over the map. Okay. Right, so now it's at 29, but of course the 9's not going to get fixed because I didn't save it. I'm going to save it now. Okay. It's booting. Why's the... I didn't put it back in the center. There we go. 8:30. You're going to have to wait and see if the 6 is fixed. But I'm just going to... I fixed the 9. I think I fixed the 9. Did I do the right one? Top, down, down, bottom. Yep. Okay. Let's recompile it again. Excuse me. Is there a display count test on... It's display count test. What am I counting? Display count. A test on Patron? No. There's just some digits that move across. What do you mean by a count test? Well, it's got to count to 0 to 9. A segment test? No, no segment test. That's. Daniel just wrote that's. Yes, to show all digits. No. No, there isn't one. Segment test. If I was going to do a segment test, I'd do some fancy animation on there. Maybe. Wow. I think I need a faster computer. How's your computer going, David? That was Mr. Watts. David Watts. He upgraded his computer finally after many, many years. I'm very keen to hear how it's going. Retro flashing 12. I like the idea from last stream about retro flashing 12. What was that idea, Greg? I don't remember. Okay. Booting up. There we go. Okay, so hopefully the 6 and the 9 will be fine for you now, Julian. You don't have to cringe every time you see them. Greg, what are you doing going through? You're just going through lists of GMT zones, are you? Plus 14, that is crazy. Someone suggested a retro flashing 12 in case you can't get the time. Oh, okay, yeah, right. I remember that. Instead of the, yeah, I could do that. Just flashing 12. Yep, cool. Good idea. Is there a standard for the segment numbers shapes? Yes, this is using standard segments, so it's A, or 0, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Wow, excuse me. That was my tummy rumbling. Did everyone hear that? Wow. Oh, we can show the IP address. Yes, we can. You ready, everyone? 192.168.110. Ta-da! Ship it. Oh, you're in Middle Earth. Sorry. Back in a second. Oh. It is freezing in here today. I'm just putting my top on. Sorry. Just live stream to see how I'm getting dressed. Oh, it's freezing. Okay. So Julian, was that okay? Yes? Oh, beautiful. Good. Yes, it looks proper. Proper. It's proper numbers now. So, okay, so what are we going to do? I wanted to... The idea was not to spend the session showing you my code, was to actually do some coding. And it's already 8:30. Wow. So does everyone know that there's... I've never used it before. Does everyone know that there's a HTML for color picker? I didn't. I'm going to try it and see what it looks like. I'm just going to try it anyway. I'm just going to add it to the page. Okay. I don't want anyone correcting my comment spelling. One does not simply set their clocks to Mordor. There's a cool top. Is that the laser cool? What? Laser cooled top. Oh, no, this is not my laser top. Does everyone know what my laser top is? That's my black top when I shot myself in the stomach with my laser when I was calibrating my K40 after I burnt it down. Does everyone remember that? Anyway, so I'm going to call this default clock color. Yeah, just for whatever. And I don't know how I'm going to set it yet. I'm going to have to... right now I just want to see what the color picker looks like. So it's going to be of type color. It's going to be def... Yeah, this whole mixing of spelling is a bit annoying. And we don't want that. And for the moment I'm going to set the default color to hash red. Just to see what happens. So it uses hex. And default color. Bum, bum, bum. And so what I do, just I have to typo. Yeah, I've got it. Here we go. Quite cool using it for my... What's quite cool? Oh, the color thing. It might be... Oh, really? GBR? No. See you, Matt. Have a good day. I'll chat with you later. Should get my boards today, Matt. Woohoo! Yes, I have a typo. I don't care. I said no one correct my comment spelling or my any spelling. No, you can correct. It's all fine. So the way I actually... So I'm not using... Even though I'm using... like input things, I'm not actually using forms, like any HTML forms. I'm actually just doing on-change events on them and telling it to redirect. So So I can do the same thing. Let's say I'm just going to do C for color. This will obviously throw a not found. But that looks okay. Let's just try this and see what it shows. So I need to compile it. It's going to take another hour. Hello, Stephen. Eek Software. Sorry. Yes. I can't have every stream where I'm destroying hardware. Like some of it I need to destroy software. Like sometimes it's got to be, you know, I have to keep it even. Learned that one using jQuery. What did we learn? Said the clocks. What? Learned which one using jQuery? You need to change those inside quotes to single quotes. No, they work with normal quotes. You can use either. Yes, I spelled color correctly. Although I do interchange color sometimes. I try to use the Queen's English. Well, HTML color picker is new to me. Yeah, it's I've never used it. I knew it was there. I've never used it. So please no jQuery, none at all. And I don't want to use jQuery because I don't want to have to pull all that stuff into memory. Even though you can get a very minimalist version of jQuery, it's still memory that I don't want to use. Uploading. Dun, dun, dun. Really silly suggestion, if you're using a PC or cell phone to set up the clock, why not let it sync to the device time and not worry about your own time decoding? Because grabbing the time off the device at the start is one thing, but how does it maintain time? Like, it needs to be able to just run independently and correct itself, because there's always drift, right? Let's do a refresh. Oh, look at that, there's a color picker. Oh, and it's red. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So if I change this to blue, uh-oh, so that's a problem. So it worked, kind of. You can see up top here, it stuck C and then hash what the color is, but it did it before I let go. Let's try that again. Or it might have done it if I went off the edge. Let me just do a refresh. Okay, so if I click on it, if I just move around, oh, okay. Moving around's fine, and as soon as I let go, oh, no. As soon as I stop moving, it takes that as a change. Looney, but why would I want to do that? Like, why do I need to do some hacky fancy thing to get the time? Again, I want this to run independently. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't want to have to, as a default, but as a default won't work unless it knows what your GMT is. Like, so, yeah, I mean, sure. Most people know where they live, though, right? They just have to select their country from the list. Like, I don't see how that gains anything, really. They still have to go to the settings screen at some point. Sure. I mean, the issue there is if the calculation is wrong in some way and then it shows the wrong time and people get confused. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, sure, all different possibilities. Like, you know, I could probably sit here and try to, you know, refine for ages. Like, at some point, yeah, I have to pick what I think is just going to be okay. I mean, another thing, like right now what will happen is it just defaults to whatever it defaults to, which I'll probably make it GMT 0, and the clock starts showing the wrong time. Maybe what I need to do is force them to go to the website to pick the time, and maybe it displays something else, right, until they set the time. I don't know. So I need to work out how I'm going to fix this problem, because I can't have it set the color until you let go of the button. See that? Like it's doing it straight away. As soon as I click. There might be another, I wonder if there's a different callback. I'm using onChanged. Sure, Rob, absolutely. And like I'm quite like Looney. It's not a bad idea. It's actually it's quite a clever idea to start it off. Or yeah, or just flash the 12 until they've set it. I mean, I'm sure there are lots of things I can do. A lot of these suggestions are really great for improving the user experience, for sure. I'm probably not at that point yet. Like I'm still trying to work out what other functionality I want inside it. I'm definitely all for making it as simple and a user experience as possible. But excuse me, they're still going to have to log into. They're still going to have to connect to it to even have that first capture of time correct, right? So I still need to have an interface that displays all this stuff for them. You know, even if it does correctly set their GMT for them based on the time, based on the web browser, that's great. That's one less step they need to do. But they still need to get to this screen to do it, right? Because it won't happen by itself. Or I could make it try to run a web page internally on the device and grab the time from it. I mean, there are things I can try for sure. RPG allocation. Where's the laser? Whoa, what? So I'm confused. I need to work out what I'm going to do with this. Why should I use XML HTTP requests? Because it's faster? Okay. I still want to know what Julian's saying. Where's the laser? It makes the update in the background. So I'm going to see what I think. You don't need to reload the page. Okay, I'll have a look at that. I was just trying to keep it as simple as possible. So I want a color picker that looks like that. How cool does that look? So where's information on its callbacks? Laser clock, more like LED to me. Or yeah. They don't look like LEDs in real life. They look like, I don't know, I called it laser just because they're laser cut segments, like it's a laser cut thing. I mean, this definitely does not look like LEDs, don't you think? I don't know. Maybe it won't be called laser. Maybe it'll be called something else. Maybe I'll call it the Julian clock. Yeah, it was based on originally on these. Oh, actually, I should show you that. Hang on. I mean, it was based on my digits that I was working on, right? Like I had my Neo segment. I needed a new name for it, so I called it a laser segment because they're all kind of laser cutty things. And that's what all my files are called, so that's what I kind of kept. Stick that in there. Oh, it's gonna fall over. So they're my new, battery. I might have a flat battery. So that's the same thing with these, right? I've got the new angled ones. So Yeah. So that's where the laser came from, Julian. It was just a... no, it's not clickbait. It's not clickbait. And laser is just a, you know... yeah, I don't know. Anyway. This is a Julian calendar. I could call it sci-fi Wi-Fi. The sci-fi Wi-Fi clock. Wow. Okay. Looney, I'll look into using XML HTTP requests. Sure. But the problem with the request is I still don't... I don't want it to change until it's changed. The issue I've got right now is not whether it's a reload the page. The issue I've got right now is that I don't want the event to be called until I've finished picking the color. So I've done that, see it's changed the color, right? And if I let go of it, it's gone. I understand that the page reload might change that, but I still don't want the color to change until the user lifts the button. You keep missing the new 6. You have to add a button set. Yeah, I didn't want to do that. Like I could, sure. Like having a button with set is a nasty thing to do on a phone. You know what I mean? Like yeah. HTML elements on a phone are already hard enough as it is, but to have to ask people to actually click a button, a small button next to something to set it. Too much complications. It doesn't work like that on Windows. Must be a Mac thing. Yeah, it might be a Mac thing. I don't know. And the question is then, what is it like on the phone? Let me try it on the phone. But you saw the 6 before. Didn't you see the 6 on the IP? Yeah, no. We're not doing jQuery. Thanks, David. Yeah, I don't want to use jQuery at all on here. I need to keep memory usage down. Like jQuery just adds a chunk of stuff. Ah, David was away. So you didn't hear my question before. How's your computer going, David? Okay. Oh, look at that. That's even worse. So on the phone, it doesn't show a color picker. It just shows the text entry field. Can you see that? That's a bit ugly. Yeah, and if I click on it, it just lets me enter text. So this is not even an option anyway. No. It is amazing. Good, I'm glad. I hope it's everything you hoped it would be, David, because you waited a damn long time to get a new computer. And a well-deserved update too. Yeah, I don't particularly want to use jQuery just because it's just extra overhead. Takes longer for the page to load. It's just more memory. Safari facepalm. No, it's not Safari. It's, well, Safari on the phone, because obviously I'm using... oh, actually, no, I'm using Chrome here. Let me try Safari here. Um, 192.168.1.1110. Yeah, you're right. It's a Safari thing. Because look at this. Damn. This is in Safari. And again, it doesn't show the color picker. Basically the same as my last machine. Right. Windows is Windows. But yes, only 5 times? Should be 500 times. Check for a Safari workaround. Yeah, there might be an extra tag I need to add or something. That's a shame. Let's have a look. Safari HTML color input not showing color picker. Let's draw this live, shall we? Color picker's not working in Safari browser. It's not supporting Safari 9.1. They're nice libraries. Yeah, I know. I didn't particularly want to use a library. Okay, so I'm going to have to use the library of some description. Sure, 5 times, yeah, is faster. I get that. I get that. But you know what the problem is? 5 times faster after a few weeks feels like not faster at all, and then you need 5 times faster again. Can you embed a color picker in the page instead of having a pop-up dialog? Then you want to do a color picker in the page is either do stacks of HTML code with different colored buttons, but I want people to have versatility on what color they want to pick, or I'll have to use jQuery or something else. It's the best iPhone we've ever made. Hey, no Apple bashing on this stream, please. No Apple bashing. Use an iframe. What would I put inside the iframe? I don't need like an iframe is not going to help me. I just need a. I didn't even know about this color picker till yesterday. Like I've never even seen that before. Yeah, I need something that's supported in all browsers. Look, I might have to stick jQuery in. I don't know if it's a HTML5 one. It's just this one, just standard input type color. And it says here that it works on 10.1, Safari 10.1, but it's clearly not. Well, it works, but it doesn't show you the color picker. And that's really frustrating. Like, I like this one. It's done. If a browser doesn't support it, it should die. Okay. Death to the browser! HTML5. So that's the HTML5 one. I really like this. I mean, I'd rather use something like this than a pop-up. So I wonder if that works on my phone. Let me just go to that address. I'm curious to see whether that actually works okay. There's your problem, you spelled colour wrong. Thanks. I don't think so. Dun, dun, dun. I'm just gonna go to my phone, go to that web address. Just using the, okay, so this, okay, so I can't see that. That's actually working on my phone in Safari, and I can change colors. So I'm going to see, look at the source of that and see if I can actually get that working on my page. Simpler open invented. Why not use Spiff to serve the web page rather than hard coding web code, just to find a nice simple REST API for setting things? Because that's a excuse me, a much more complicated route, David. I mean, when I started this, I didn't have an end goal of what I even wanted to do on the web page. So I've been hacking this bit by bit from the start. So there are a lot of things I could have done differently, and there are a lot of improvements I can make to this, how I serve it, where it's stored, even just how I've laid out my code. But this evolved over 3 or 4 days from all I need is a GMT drop-down list to, oh wow, look at all these other things I could do. So that's kind of why it is the way it is right now. Technically, from a nerdy web guy standpoint, you could use that image and create an image map. Yeah, I could do that, sure. I mean, that's going to be quite painful to make an image map from that. I know there are tools out there that you can do it. Oh, Julian's gone to sleep. I finally put Julian to sleep with my coding. Yes! Achievement unlocked. Good night, Julian. Thanks for joining. Have a good sleep. Yeah, it'd be a nightmare to do an image map, and it would be a lot of code as well. Yeah. Yeah, again, like rather than trying to like work out what's compatible, what's not, I just want to keep everything as to be the simplest HTML code as I can. I'll have a cup of tea, thanks, David. English breakfast, please. Dash of milk, no sugar. If you're making, that is, thanks. Okay, so I was hoping to have some nice code for this, but it's not going to work today. Oh, look at all these. That's the other option, is I could do a color picker like this, right, with 3 different sliders. Well, that'll probably be one of the easiest things I could implement. Yorkshire in this house. Earl Grey. Oh, no, my dad was an Earl Grey drinker. I can't do it. It's too sweet. I don't like Earl Grey, sorry. I've not had Yorkshire. But, yeah, I like my English breakfast. And sometimes Irish breakfast. That's also a bit sweet. English breakfast for sure. Yum. 26k? Yeah, okay. No, I'm not going to do that hexagon one. Maybe I'll just do these. I'll do sliders. Yeah, I might do something like this. So there's 2 lots of color pickers I need. I need one for the digits and one for the flashing seconds. Does anyone know what that's called? What are the 2 flashing things called? I mean, it's a colon. Looks like a colon. But is there a name for it on a clock? Colon. Thanks, Azzy. It can't be called a colon on a clock though, right? Oh, Earl Grey only with lemon. Oh. Tetley for everyone and Earl Grey for occasional tea. Sideways umlauts. The umlauts. I think Dave's gone. Oh, Dave's here. Wow. Yes. Sideways umlauts. Okay. Italic colon. Yeah, come on. It's got to have a proper name, doesn't it? Oh. It is still freezing in here. Oh. I can actually do with all this talk of cup of tea has made me freezing. What? Lapsang Saushong. I can't even say that. Colon is the official term. Okay, well there you go. Howdy. Brian keeps saying howdy. No watching active. That's okay. Dave, it's totally fine. I actually didn't even know you were still here. All good. I know the dot above it is called the tittle. Is it really? A dot above the I is called a tittle? No way. Large intestine. Is that supposed to be intestine? Yep, interweb agrees. Colon is official name for it. Oh, lapsang's a T, is it? I got no idea. This conversation's gone left big time. Intestine. Yeah, that's what I thought you meant, intestine. It's called the large intestine. How's your microscope, Rob? Mine's still sitting here unused. It's great with barbecue. What? Smoky tea with barbecue? Okay. Wow. So that's my Wi-Fi clock, everyone. I was going to actually do some live coding, but the things I really wanted to do, not going to happen today. Which is really frustrating. I mean, I can go this other route. I'm just going to mute store chat. Oh, that actually makes sense. Peter Essop and buried ribs. Smoky flavor with ribs, sure. Yeah, I know that's a tilde. Tilde. What do I need to talk about that webpage? What about that web page? What's wrong with the web page, Brian? Okay, so if I can't use color, I'm just going to do this for now. I'm going to CR for R, and this is it's going to be a range. It's going to be called CR. It's going to be 100 wide. The value right now is just going to be, it's going to make it 255 CR. Should probably keep it all lowercase, doesn't matter. It's going to go from 0 to 255. Okay. I'm going to do 3 of those. And it's color R, color G, and color B. A Tilda Swinton joke, okay. Wi-Fi pixel grid, does that color picker work on your phone? Hang on. Let me find out. Is everyone checking their phones? So what's the web address? It's David J. Watts. David J. Watts.com/YouTube. YouTube/wow. Is it case sensitive? I think it's going to be, isn't it? Pixel, Wi-Fi pixel, grid. I bet I've done a typo somewhere. Grid/. It's loading. I see this. What's that? What's it supposed to be? Oh, right, the color picker. Yes, that works. So which one's that? You regret giving up your God powers right now. I'm going to give you God powers again. Next time you say you don't want them, I'm going to say to you, bad luck. Anyway, I've got it up on my phone. Yes, it's working. So which color pick is this? And how do you get out of it? Just tap out of it, right? Oh, it's a jQuery, right. It's jQuery color picker. Okay. As a fallback, I definitely can. I can do that. I definitely could do that, I guess. I don't even have to worry about these names anyway, because I'm not using them. So if I reach, I just want to see what this does. Just for fun. Just as feedback, very customizable. Okay. Yeah, I've got a few options, I guess. I just, yeah, didn't really want to load any J. So does that require jQuery as well? Like, do I have to have that the JQ color picker, min, JS, and jQuery? Run across this one on GitHub. Picker, no jQuery. Let's have a look at this one. It's what David. Well, that's interesting. Oh, no, what did I just do? Oh, is that just an image? Oh. Where's an example? Is it an example of it working? No? Ah, okay, so it's just store JavaScript. Fully featured demo. Here we go. Example code. Wow, that's fancy. It's not working though. I pick a color, red, but it's not changing. Oh, that's a bit dumb. It's all your fault, Azzy. Okay, that uploaded. So now if I just go back to here, I just want to see, where's my reload? Here we go. Got 3 color pickers now. Yeah, I hit save and it didn't work. It's on red. Oh, red, save. Oh, okay, it did that time. If I scroll too far off the edge, it closes it, which is annoying. Yeah, okay, have to click save. Auto redirect to Chrome installation if you just text Safari. Yeah, that's a great option. Not. Okay, so I've got 3 sliders here now. So I could, yeah, I could use these. And I could actually make them update all 3 at the same time, which means when you let go, it could actually show you the color straight away. Yeah, I've got a few options. Lots to think about. Of course, on web page, I would enjoy seeing you achieve it without jQuery. Yeah, I'd prefer to not use jQuery if I can. I'd also prefer not to have a whole bucket of JavaScript sitting there as well, if I can avoid it. For something like this, I mean, this is way overcomplicated for what I need for a color picker. I just need something really simple. I'll work it out, for sure. For sure. So what are we going for? 2 hours! Over 2 hours! City and where possible. It speeds up the load times. The file is normally already cached. I'd rather not have anything external if I can. Like, as I said, right now my CSS is external. It's on my website. I'd rather move all that in, once I've optimized it, I'd rather just move it all onto the device and not have to pull anything from anywhere else, if I can. I'd like the whole web page to be served up. I mean, right now I've got a logo and that's being pulled from my server as well. So I'd rather remove as much external pulling as possible if I can. Oh my gosh, that could be DHL. Everyone wait there, don't move. Coming. DHL! Except my name's all over it, my address is all over it. Hang on a second. I'm not doing that one again. Why did I use blue? That was stupid. Oh. Okay, I'm just going to pull it out of the packet because my address is all over it. Ta-da! I've already got the parts. Just right across platform smartphone program. Connect to the clock. A lot of programs are soon have color pickers built in. I could actually make an app for it, but that's actually a much harder thing to do. And then I have to write custom code on the actual clock. Yeah, no. I got a pin! Another pin! And for those that want to know, my stencil is the right size. Yay. Should we do an opening? Stream part 2, what are we building? These are tiny, ooh, there's a hole in there. Tiny Pico Rev 3, my first 4-layer boards. 4 layers. So I have to do a special video for these. How do I make sure? I wrote it in the notes. So they're actually already, so JLC PCB have already done one revision to update their website. They've changed a few things. And I just, added to the notes. Please make sure this is the correct size of the correct shape, just in case the values didn't stick properly. So I mentioned, I can't even remember where I mentioned, but JLC PCB have paid for these, my 4-layer boards, on the proviso that I do a sponsored by video, which is going to show everyone how to do 4-layer boards in Eagle and how to export them for JLC PCB. And I've actually written my own CAM processor and DRC, created my own CAM processor and DRC files for 4-layer boards that are compatible with JLC PCB. So I'm going to be sharing those on GitHub as well. So you'll have all of the stuff you need to be able to do it with Eagle anyway. I don't know about KiCad or anything else, or KiCad, but so expect a video coming up very soon about that, because that was a deal I made with them, for them to pay for these. So yeah, that's exciting, but I'm really keen to see what the thermals are like on these, because that's the main change. The antenna, I didn't change the antenna on this. I've actually got a revision 4 that I'm working on already that's got a new antenna implementation, but I wanted to see what the thermals are like on this. Find new Eagle clunky. I think Eagle's always been a bit clunky. I don't think it's clunkier. I think that the improvements Autodesk have been making are fantastic. If you get me the DR stuff, I'll work out the KiCad. Yeah, sure. I'll send you all of those, David. I'll email them to you. So I'm excited to see what the thermals are like with this. But yeah, as I said, I'm already planning a revision 4. It's not going to be over anytime soon, this whole Tiny Pico thing. Now, what I was thinking of doing, what I was hoping to do, and it all depends on what happens in the mail today. If my iGuards turn up today, which I don't think they're going to, but if my iGuards turn up today, I was thinking of building one of these on a live stream tomorrow. I was going to do a special live stream, because I'm desperate to see how these work. But if they don't turn up, then I can't obviously build them on a live stream, because I won't be able to build them, or you won't be able to see what I'm doing. So if not, maybe I'll build one on a live stream next week, so you'll get to see me put one of these together with my microscope, assuming my iGuards turn up. I just feel the image gets blurred as soon as I zoom out. Which image? Anybody else find the new Eagle? Oh, the Eagle image. They're talking about me blurring. Yeah, Take the God powers away sound. The temptation to rickroll is too much. Oh, do it, David. Do it. Rickroll. Do it, do it, do it. I'm not taking your mod powers away. If you can't control yourself, that's on you, mate, not me. Okay, revision 3. That's exciting. That's exciting. Hey, Andy Mouse. not only are you late, but it's been a coding one. I've been doing coding. Well, not really a lot of coding, but anyway. Also, the text on the tab's massive. Perhaps it's because I'm using Linux. I don't know. I've not seen it on Linux. No, Eagle looks fine here. Which version are you using? Are you on 9.2? I mean, here's 9.2. This is not supposed to be a tiny Pico stream, by the way. But I've been making some changes to Rev 4. This is my new antenna implementation. Let's get it away from the clock. So I've got the, excuse me, the network as close to the IC as possible, and I've got it curved. But I'm thinking of sticking a ULF connector on it. I'm thinking about it. And the other thing I've done is I've remade another footprint for the Pico, and I've pulled the ground pad in slightly so I can actually get some wires inside. As you can see here, and I can run power inside instead of outside. So it gives me a little bit more space because I don't have wires all the way around the outside anymore. And I've dropped a pin. I've dropped pin IO12. IO12 is like IO0. It's a bit of a problematic pin. If you hold it high, then you can't program or boot the Pico. So it's one of those things where users that know that will be able to, you know, work around that. But if someone wires this up in a certain way and pulls 12 that I had here high, they basically not going to kill their board, but they're not going to be able to program their board anymore. So I decided to take it off just for the moment and turn the button around. I haven't done anything with this yet. I'm not shipping it yet. I really want to see what revision 3 is like thermal-wise first. But yeah, I've been making a few changes still, as you can see. Anyway, yeah, there's no blurriness here. Zoom's fine. Tabs are all fine. Yeah, I don't know. See you, Des. Good night. Thanks for joining. Anyway, no more Eagle. This is not a tiny Pico stream. Do you want to save it? No, I don't. Routing looks good. Sorry, what? Routing looks generally like a lot of fun. I often rip boards up just to start again. Yeah, I'm this close. You see how close this is? I'm this close to completely relaying the board out again. Very, very close. I have an idea. I thought of something, of a way I could compact it. Not to make the board smaller, because I really don't want to make it smaller, but to have more space. So I can potentially get the labels on the front of the board. So I did this. I've been playing around with... Maybe it's time to pull my camera out. I'm going to switch cameras. Okay. This is just on a tripod. This is my camera. Let's just put it here for now, just so everyone can see what I'm doing. So I've been playing around with just getting different screens and things working. Whoops, where's my camera? So here's a tiny Pico Rev 2. So I stuck some header pins on it, and I've just been playing with it. And the problem is, you don't know what the pins are. Like, I get that a lot of boards have the same problem, where the pin numbers are on the bottom, and there's no room on top, but this is really annoying me. Like, I'm constantly having to go back and look at my design, or look at a different board. You know, like I'll have this sitting next to me, upside down, so I can see what the pin numbers are. Very frustrating. So I was thinking of maybe trying to compress all the components together into the middle more, and to leave room to put the labels on the outside, or on the inside of the pins rather than between them, because between them it's not working. But yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have enough space to do that. And I'm not really sure I want to relay out the whole board again just to find out. So yeah. Excuse me. Wow. Yeah, so ripping up the board and routing is fun until you've done it too many times, and then it's not so fun anymore. Unexpected Pico stream. Yeah, I'm not going to do anywhere that. Anyway, days off to bed. I am going to call it, folks. It's been 2.5 hours. It's been a fun stream. I've got no coding done. Add a card with the pins in the bag. Yeah, I will. I do that with all my stuff anyway. But it's just frustrating to have to go and look at a card or to look at another board all the time. If I could find a way of getting the numbers on there, it would make me very, very happy. But it's not a deal breaker. It's just, it would be nice if I could get it working. But it's not worth completely relaying the board out again, I don't think, because that could just potentially introduce problems. Folks, it's been awesome. I've had a fun time. I appreciate everyone's suggestions. You'll take one when it's done. One of what, David? We're talking about tiny picos, we're talking about Wi-Fi clocks, we're talking about both? I don't know. Why not put the header pins in from the other side? Then you can read labels you have, as they'll be on top. Huh? What? Put the header pins on the other side. You can read the ones on the bottom. The header pins don't block the ones on the bottom. Right? They're easily viewable, but they're on the bottom. When you're in a breadboard, you can't see them anymore. That's the problem. So the header pins aren't blocking those. It's just that when it's in the board this way, you no longer have access to what the numbers are. Clock. Both. Cool. Add a sticker on the Pico, put over the top. Yeah, could potentially do that too. Or I could put the other header pins that had pin numbers on the side. Anyway, lots of options. No number on it. It pins on the other side. So put the board in upside down. Yeah, I guess you could put the board upside down. You can't see the LEDs then, right? It's definitely an option, I guess. Sure. Maybe. Upside down board. Or make it look like it's the right way around. Oh, it'd be really cool if I did that technique where you don't have copper or anything on the board so you can see the LED from the other side. So you mount the LEDs on but upside down, and then you can see them flash through the board. Wow, that'd be interesting. Anyway, that's for another day. Thank you all for joining. Thanks for all your suggestions and feedback and comments and questions. It's always fun. And very quickly, I meant to do this at the start of the stream and I totally forgot because I got caught up with the latency thing. I just wanted to apologise to everyone here, if you're still around. I got a bit stressed in my last stream. I was, there was a lot of stuff coming through comments very quickly. A lot of suggestions about the RF and design and whatever else, blah, blah, blah. And I got quite a bit, I got quite stressed. And so I apologise if I came across as either rude or short or annoyed. I wasn't. I wasn't annoyed in any way. I appreciate everyone's feedback all the time. I just got a little overwhelmed, I think. In my last stream, there was a section of about 5 or 10 minutes where I thought my head was going to explode. So I apologise. It was, yeah, if anyone took offence or anyone thought I was, yeah, I meant no, didn't mean to be rude or didn't mean to, yeah, it was just it was one of those times. I normally keep my cool and keep everything together, but I guess when you add on to the fact that I don't know what I'm doing with RF at all, right, and this whole journey on the Pico has been one massive learning experience. I was already at a heightened state of frustration with myself and my knowledge, and so all of that just happened, and yeah, it tipped me over the edge. But it was not, when I say you, I mean everyone. It wasn't your fault. It was all on me. I was just, yeah, overwhelmed. But thank you all. Yeah, please hit the like button. That'd be awesome. We need to counter those people that keep clicking the dislike button. I don't know why they do that, but they do it. They think it's funny, maybe. I'm not sure. But it's been fun. I will keep working on the clock. I'll keep refining the website and the code, and hopefully I'll be able to My plan is to try to get these on Tindy as soon as possible. And they're going to come in pitfall. Yeah, see, someone did it? Yeah, so people just push downvote because they think they're being funny or smart. What can I do? I try to keep a smile on my face whenever I see that. Sorry, Rob. Sorry you missed the first hour. Yeah, my plan is to get these on Tindy as soon as possible. Hopefully within the next 2 or 3 weeks. I want to just finalise the board, get them shipped, and then finish the back and the laser cutting, and then it's just refining the code. Okay, thank you all. I keep saying thank you. Keep doing whatever. ETA on the clock on Tindy. Yeah, I don't know yet. I'm hoping within the next, excuse me, 2 or 3 weeks, I'd say. I don't know. It depends on if I'm going to rewrite all of this to use HTTP requests, like XML requests and stuff. I don't know. I have to record tomorrow's stream on Betamax. Betamax. There might not be a stream tomorrow. I don't know. It depends if my eye guards turn up. I don't think they will. Apparently they're in Australia somewhere, but Australia Post don't have them listed as coming today or tomorrow or anything yet. So if there's a surprise, then maybe I'll surprise everyone else. Otherwise, it might have to wait till next week's stream. Anyway, bye. Thank you all. Don't forget to hit the like button. And I'll catch you all next time. Woohoo!